Ever found yourself spiraling down a late night rabbit hole of what am I meant to do and why haven't I found it yet? And let's be honest, who hasn't? Then you're in the right place. I'm Theresa White, career clarity expert and 5-time certified career coach, and I'm here to help you navigate the question of how to find a career that truly lights you up. On Career Clarity Unlocked, we're all about those light bulb moments. I'm talking to people who are still trying to figure out what they're meant to do, coaching them live to reach that magical, yes, this is it moment. And we'll also hear from those who've already found their dream careers and figure out exactly how they did it. Whether you're looking for inspiration or actionable advice on finding a career you love, I've got you covered. Time to unlock some career clarity. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Career Clarity Unlocked. I am so glad that you're here today because today's episode is one of my favorite. It is a live coaching session. I always find these incredibly powerful because we get to dive deep with a real person in real time, and you get to follow along as we explore what's coming up for them, where they're feeling stuck, and how we can begin to create meaningful shifts. This coaching session is grounded in the Sparketype assessment developed by Jonathan Fields. If you've been following me for a while, you've likely heard me talking about it many times. If you're new to it, the Sparketype assessment is all about uncovering the essential nature of work that fills you with meaning, helps you feel fully expressed, a life with purpose and absorbed in flow, what Jonathan Fields calls being sparked. You can take the assessment for free on Sparketype.com. My guest today took the Sparketype assessment ahead of our session, and her results gave us a beautiful foundation to work from. Her primary Sparketype is the advisor, which means she comes alive and she's coaching, guiding, and mentoring others through challenges and growth. Her shadow Sparketype is the nurturer, which is all about giving care and deeply supporting others. You will hear how much her Sparketype profile shows up in the way she leads, connects, and dreams about the future. Right now, she's in the middle of a big transition, moving countries, launching a new career path, and tapping into a calling to create a coaching business that empowers women. It is a rich conversation, and I can't wait for you to hear it. Let's dive in. Welcome, Ada. Can you please start by sharing with us a bit about your professional journey?
I've been in finance for over a decade, and I'm looking towards starting my own online business, like you.
Yes.
So and then I just relocated to Canada. And so, I'm trying to adjust and trying to, start up, kind of need to know how and how to do it. But I'm still working though, but eventually I want to transition into that because I think I love it.
Oh, and I can so see that already in you. Give me a little bit of a background on your professional journey. I've read the form and I know, but it's always different to hear it from you.
Okay, I began my work career with some short-term jobs. That was after my master's. And then eventually I went full scale into finance career at the National Bank. And I grew within the ranks because I was there for over a decade. I started as, I would say, a senior supervisor, administration and inventory. So basically what I was doing then was to keep records of fiscal assets, inventory, and all that. And then after that, I got promoted after, I think, about 3 years. And I went to be an assistant manager in payments. So here I did a lot of accounting work. And then my last promotion was also to the position of a deputy manager. And this time was development finance. And what we were doing then, what I did was to handle national projects, developmental projects that provided funds to help communities and then also for businesses at very low interest rates so that businesses could thrive at the local economy. So I was responsible for executing this project in the state that I was. So that's basically a summary of my career journey.
Thanks so much for sharing that. And what do you do currently then?
Currently, I'm working with a company, also doing financial. I just got the job not too long ago.
Oh,
Also the
congratulations.
financial role. I like the job and I'm very good at it. But there's just this, deep inner craving of something I want to fulfill. So that's why I'm looking at how to start that so that I can maybe over the years transition into it.
I love that so much for you. And so I had to take the Sparketype assessment, which is an assessment that does not measure necessarily what we're good or bad at. It measures what fills us with energy and gives us that feeling of meaning and purpose, and also what tends to drain us and is that heavier lift. And I think I already have a gut feeling of why there is something missing for you in your career, even though you've been very successful. But we'll dive deeper into that. So your primary Sparketype showed up as the advisor, that love for guiding, coaching, mentoring others. Did that resonate with you?
Yes, absolutely. Deeply.
Deeply?
And then, yeah, like it's when I started, I was like, okay, so is that why I like to give advice? Like someone could walk up to me and say, maybe even at work, and say, I have this problem, I have this. And I don't just feel like you're telling me something in me thinks, oh, get a solution. So I immediately turn on the button like, oh, I think you can do this and that and that and that. And I just go off and, of course, with maturity, I have to learn, no, it's not always. I had to learn that. But yeah, that deeply resonates.
Oh, it's beautiful just to see how you light up when you talk about it. That's how I can tell it really resonates. Have there been times in the past or currently at work where you feel like you got to really do that type of work?
Yes, there have been, for instance, because I had to manage teams. And so I've had issues where a team member is not really, pulling his weight. And then others are just complaining and like mumbling and accusing him for the reason why there are lapses in the team. And I just feel, okay, everyone is complaining, but something must be wrong with him. Someone needs to find out, what's wrong with him and prepare a solution to help him out. So yeah, at such cases, I would call the team member and say, hey, what's up? This is what's happening. Is there anything you would like to share? Is there any way I can help you? I know I'm your boss, but just calm down, just share, I can help you. Yeah, so I find I do that at work.
And that, I'm certain, made you a really successful but also valued leader in your organization.
Yes, let me say that.
Yeah.
Let me say that, yeah.
Yeah. And your shadow Sparketype, closely related, is the nurturer. And that is it's often the feeling of I got you. It's to take care of someone, to see someone, to hold someone, to be with others and walk alongside them. Did that resonate as well for you?
Yeah, it did. After I took the Sparketype test, I was like, oh, so this is why I do what I do. Like it kind of rang the bell, like, okay, yeah. So for the nurturer one, yeah, I would consider myself a loyal person.
Mm-hmm.
And so if a friend comes to me and say, oh, I have this issue and I advise you, I will want to follow up like, okay, so how did it go? Did you take the advice? Okay, did this happen? Oh, not to worry. I would like to help you get up and practically walk with you through the journey. Yeah. So yeah, it really resonated with me. And like I said, over the years, as I began to get, become more mature, I realized, okay, you have to do this with wisdom. Not everybody wants you into their space full time. So yeah. It does.
That's a beautiful quality that you have. And I can just hear how deeply you care about people.
Maybe too much.
There can also be, when we do the work that we love and we do it too much, that can also be draining, especially when you're a caretaker and you love helping others. It can also get to a point where it then becomes so much that it depletes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
moments, and I have to say, okay, so what is really stressing you now? You're trying to help someone walk this journey, and okay, you can relax, and I just have to talk to myself and relieve the stress. Yes, I so agree with that. And there are times I could be helping people and just get lost in it, like
Yeah.
forgetting myself and my own thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. In the Sparketype assessment, it has the profiles on a spectrum, or the profiles exist on a spectrum from very process-driven to very service-driven. So the process-driven ones love the process of learning. Like, I'm a very process-driven Sparketype. You can lock me in an office, give me a good problem to solve. You can lock me in there for 48 hours. I'll be as happy as can be. I know. For someone who's very service-driven, and the advisor and nurturer, they're very service-driven Sparketype. It's often about that service aspect, that relational impulse of being able to have the other person to coach, guide, mentor, support, hear, see. Do you feel that this is something really important and central for you, is to do that service-driven type of work?
Yes, I feel it is really important because I like to know how people feel, not just working with them. So, yeah, I'd like to say, okay, how can I help you? Is there anything I can do to make your work better? But I would say that there are times, because I would consider myself kind of somehow introverted at the same time.
Not perfectly fine.
Right. Yeah, so there are times where I just want to do the process, do the work. Yeah, but it still doesn't take away the fact that I love to find somebody to help, to serve, on some level. Yeah. So
And that's really a balance, finding that balance of honoring that you're an introvert and that you need alone time to recharge, but at the same time that you do have that service relation driven impulse of where you're filled up when you pour into others.
yeah.
And as an introvert, I'm wondering if you prefer to do this in larger group settings, or if you're more energized when it's one-on-one or small group settings with others.
Right now I do both because at work I have to attend to large groups. Yeah, but on my own, I would say I love the one-on-one because I get to hear your deep concerns. I get to see how I can personalize it to you, how I can help you. So currently, I would say I have done both, or I do both. But I think I really love the one-on-one because I feel it's more impactful. Like I'm able to really help you on a deeper level as I would have done in a group.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now when you're envisioning about starting your own business down the road, what do you see yourself doing?
Okay, I see myself having a coaching business. It'll be online because I can be in so many places at the same time. So I see myself starting a sort of coaching business, and I particularly love helping women get a voice. Yeah, because from the part of the world where I originally am from, in many parts of Africa, um, it's still largely male dominated, and a lot of women are struggling to get their voices. I'm grateful to my parents for the exposure that I have. And so it makes me see, I come out and I see, oh, yeah, women can do this, women can do that. So I also see myself helping women in that section, maybe women who have been abused, women who, don't have confidence, self-esteem, don't believe in themselves. I know I can help them to come up and be who they really want to be.
Oh, that's beautiful. And do you see yourself working with women in Africa mainly, or were you globally? Who do you feel most drawn to helping?
And so right now, I'm not in Africa, but I'm so drawn to helping them. But it would definitely be global because I know that even here, there are still a lot of women who have issues. Not everybody was probably as fortunate as I was growing up. So Yeah, so I see it global, but I know I would really do a lot of work to help African women.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is something that someone said that to me once, and it resonated for me so much that we often are drawn to helping our younger selves, of
Exactly.
helping who we
Yeah.
were when we grew up or when we were younger or earlier in life.
Yeah, because I know the struggles too well. I know the culture too well. I know the environment. Yeah, so I know how to help you get up. Yeah.
Yeah. And just curious, and there's definitely no right or need to or have to here, but I'm curious, you have so much experience in the financial and economic side. Would you want to bring some of that in your coaching too?
I believe I would do that as needed because I realize that some of these people, the women I'm looking at, a few of them probably don't even, they're not, will I say financially literate? They're not illiterate, but it's one thing to have financial knowledge and it's another thing to know other things. Yeah, so there are a lot of people who are working, but their finances are a mess. So yeah, so I know this women because I have friends call me up and okay, a friend of mine was like, she's a stay-at-home mom and basically her husband was bringing most of the finances. And so she was like, oh well, but he also had access to that account. And so sometimes I think I have money in it and then he's taking it and he tells me that it's for the family and I feel helpless. So yeah, so with women like that, I can walk them through how they can manage their own finances, even though they are stay-at-home moms. Because it relieves a lot of pressure. Financial issues bring so much pressure in homes and marriages.
Yeah, I would think that's beautiful to use your expertise and the knowledge you have in the financial systems and in banking to support and help women have a voice. Because knowing your finances or having understanding about how to manage your finances gives you a lot of power or a lot of confidence that you can be on your own.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then in cases of, like I've heard of cases of abuse, a lot of them are stuck because of finances. Yeah, because they just depended solely on the man. And it's like, okay, I don't think I want to continue this anymore, but I've got no money. What do I do?
Right.
Yeah, so with that financial literacy and knowledge, they begin to know what steps to take and how to find their own feet, basically.
Yeah. And I believe that could be such a beautiful niche for you or differentiation from other coaches who help women, that you do have that financial background and you can help women have a voice who have been abused, struggle with confidence, struggle with self-esteem, but you can add to that financial piece of like, let's use that as a foundation for you, as a secure base that we can then build on top. I do feel like that would be really something that sets you apart as a coach.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at a bit, but I haven't really thought of it as my special addition. And yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And how do you feel about starting a coaching business? How, if that is where you want to go, like what are your questions, thoughts, what you're not sure about, how to move next?
Um, okay, the first step would be how do I, like you said, there's so many people in the business. So bad questions will be like, okay, so how do I get my own client? And like you said, what would set me apart from the rest? Why would someone be drawn to me? Yeah, so those are some of the questions I've been trying to answer. Like, what can I do differently to attract my own set of customers? And also, how can I make it successful? A thriving business that eventually, when I'm ready to let go of working for people, like the 9 to 5 grand, I won't feel, financially drained. Also, I would like to, sometime in the future or nearest future, I would also like to set up like a fund or a foundation to financially empower these women. Yeah, because finance involves a lot of training. Yeah, so I'd like to set up kind of trainings and all that. So like, I'm also interested in, okay, how do I make this profitable enough that I give my full attention to it? So I think there's major concern. And yes, very importantly, how to make it global. Yeah, yes, I'm trying to help African women, but yeah, I'm open to help everybody.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about ideal clients that you want to serve, so women who want to have a voice, who might have been abused, lack confidence, lack self-esteem, and we're thinking about maybe more North America, since that is likely clients who can pay you in US dollar or Canadian dollars. Who would you feel most drawn to serving?
I feel most drawn to serving younger women like me, say between the ages of say 25 to about 45. Yeah, I think so. But I kind of find that even older women have these issues. Like a friend was speaking to me recently of another friend who was 50 with such issues. And in my mind, I'm like, I can totally help her. I know what to do to help her. But I think I'll be comfortable with the younger ones. Yeah.
And so when you think about your ideal client, that one person in your head of maybe it's the younger you, or maybe it's your friend who you talk to. What are they experiencing when they first come in contact with you? Like, why would they say like, yeah, I want to work with you? What are their pain points?
Okay, for starters, they feel stuck. They feel stuck. They have this feeling or idea or knowing deep within that things are not going well. And they probably heard people say, do this and do that. But another part of their mind or their brain or heart or something tells them, but if you do this, this will go wrong. So they're playing that story over and over in their head, like, I think this is wrong, but if I take this step out, this will go wrong. So both ways is wrong, and I feel stuck. Yeah, so ideally, they feel they do not know what to do, and so they just remain put. They just stay where they are and keep living life miserably.
And what are the circumstances that make them feel stuck and not know what to do? What are their life circumstances?
Like I said, being in an environment, it could be at work, it could be especially relationships where they feel they can't be themselves, where they don't trust that they can be themselves freely. Where they have to just, pretend to be something else just so that they can survive and cope. And in some cases, it's abuse. And funny enough, sometimes they do not even know that it's an abusive situation because a lot of times what is termed abuse, especially back home, is the physical battering.
Right.
But if physical battering is not there, they don't really know that emotional abuse is abuse, psychological abuse is abuse. So usually then that sort of setting where they're being abused and they do not know what to do about it because they feel that they can't really do anything about it, that nobody is going to, listen to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's women who feel really stuck in unhealthy, toxic, abusive environments.
Yeah.
Either home environments or community environments or probably more home or work environments, that their environment that's really eroded their sense of self, that lower their confidence, lower their self-esteem. They can't be themselves and they don't know how to get out.
Yeah.
And when they work, if we imagine you work with this person and you help them, what would be the ideal outcome? Like, what would they want to in their life? What would they want to get to?
First is freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom, yes, because freedom just makes you be you. So these women want to become free so that they can express themselves. However, they want to be whatever they are thinking without any, without bothering about what people say or think, or if they accept it or not. And then they would regain their confidence, regain their self-esteem, regain self-love, and they would pay more attention to themselves and begin to do things that bring them meaning and impact. Then they would be able to, just like if you're helping me, they will be able to determine with clarity what they want to do with their life. Because when your mind is clogged, when you can't see, when there are a lot of things blocking your mind, you're just going up and down in your head over and over, around and around. So when those blockages are out, they're able to tell me what they want to do with their life and go for it. And
And how would their external environment change, or how would their life circumstances change in an ideal case scenario?
In some cases, they would need to get completely out of the environment. And some cases are not manageable in quotes for them to be there. They would need to get completely out of the environment, have a whole new set of friends, have new relationships, get into a better environment, that would change. And then they would be more productive with whatever it is they decide to do. Some of them may already be doing something, working or having a business. But with that clock, it doesn't bring the productivity to the level that it's supposed to be. So they'll be more productive with whatever they're doing. And they'll feel the inner peace, that inner joy that they've been searching for, that inner joy, that inner peace. They will feel it, and it will definitely radiate all around them, and they will begin to, impact those around them as well.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And I'm picturing it as when the client comes to you, they're like stuck in this box container, like this environment that they just feel like suffocated in. It's like an unhealthy, toxic, abusive environment. They can't be themselves. And then through working with you, they get to break free out of that and be themselves and find joy and have an open mind to self-love, confidence.
Yeah.
Does that resonate?
Yes, absolutely.
And what would be the steps? And you don't have to know that, right? Like all the small steps, but what would be some of the building blocks to get them there? And I'm thinking like one could be financial literacy. What other building blocks do you first to come to mind that you feel like they would need to learn, or I would need to coach them through that so they can get there?
Okay, first that comes to me, I'm a spiritual person. And so for me, mine will be seeing yourself, how your maker sees you. Yes, how you are seen by the divine. You're seeing yourself through the wrong lenses. And so you are not seeing yourself how you really are, and you're not seeing who you really are. So when you are able to see through the eyes of your maker, through the eyes of the divine, that you are light, that you are supernatural, that you're powerful, that you're not your circumstance, that you are special. And so that's the first step to get them begin to see that way. That immediately unlocks something because they're able to look at themselves differently. Because one of the reasons why they stay in that situation is they're seeing themselves as worthy or deserving of that abuse, of that situation. So by the time they see that, then they would say, oh, I don't deserve this. It's not my fault. Whatever went wrong, and I don't deserve it. So that would be the first thing I would do. And then secondly, I would get into the stories that they've been telling themselves for years. What are the stories that you've been telling yourself? We wake up every morning and unconsciously we play the same old stories. Someone brings you a plate of food and what do you tell yourself? What is that food for? And all that. So the stories you tell yourself, they get to play it out and see if for real, is it true? Something happened 15 years ago, but here I'm 20 years older now and that's the past, but I'm still reliving that story.
Yeah.
So get them the stories, get them to work on their limiting beliefs, to work on those limiting beliefs so that they make space for the right beliefs to help them. So another thing I would like to do is to find their heart's desires, let them know that it is safe to bring out what you really want without criticizing your desires. I would help them honor their desires. Don't criticize and don't judge yourself. You love to help people. Why? You love to do this. Why? Help them bring that out. Help them gain that clarity. And I would also like to help them with the financial part as well. I would like to help them with their finances because, like I said, a lot of people get stuck because they're like, okay, I don't know how to make money. I don't have years of experience. I've been a stay-at-home mom. Nobody's going to employ me. How do I make money? Yeah, so I would help them with that, how they can raise finances. And so I would help them with this and so much more.
Yeah, I love that. So what I've taken so far is that you would work with women who are really closed in by an unhealthy, toxic, abusive environment. They can't be themselves. And then when they work with you, they first learn to see themselves through a new lens or through a divine lens.
Yeah.
They find their heart desires and they can build the financial groundwork to have financial freedom. And all of that work then frees them up so they can be themselves, be confident, love themselves, create meaning, impact, and be open. So it's really that close to open to freedom.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So couple of things in order what I would suggest to make that happen. Once, have you thought about taking a coaching certification?
Yes, I have. And I'm looking at starting one either next month or next 2 months.
Yeah.
But soon. Yeah.
I love that. I think that's going to be fantastic. And then I'm also thinking, start building a brand for yourself. And you can reflect back on our conversation, everything else that comes up to you. But it's really helpful to be like, okay, where are my clients before? Ideally, what are 3 steps that I'm going to coach them through? And where are they after? And then start sharing it. You can use LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn as my content creation platform, but you want to think about where is your ideal audience? Where could they find you? And even before you offer coaching, ideally a year before you start offering coaching, build the community. Start posting maybe once or twice a week, and then eventually go to 3 or 4 times a week, and talk about these either yourself, like before and after.
Okay.
And so you can talk about the pain point, the pain they're feeling before, and then the after of how different your life is.
Okay.
So that they can see themselves like, oh my God, she gets where I am. She gets me, and this is possible.
Yeah.
And then also maybe small pieces of advice around those 3 blocks that you identified of like, what's one small thing you can do to see yourself through a new lens or through the divine lens? What's one thing you can do to help you slow down and find your heart desires? What's a financial tip that can help someone in that situation?
Okay.
And through sharing that content and building your audience, and your people will start knowing you for that. They'll think, oh, I'm like, she really gets me. She knows where I am. And building that audience and that following is really going to be setting you up for success once you start coaching and start taking on clients.
Okay.
And don't overthink it in the beginning, because everything will evolve so many times. I know how my coaching is so different from how it was when I first started. But having those first building blocks to start, and then at some point you might have the first person reach out to you and be like, what you wrote really resonated with me. And then you start a conversation in the DMs, be like, ask them questions, be curious about them, get them on a call and see if you'd be the right person to help them. And that can then naturally transition into coaching.
Okay. Wow. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely good. Those are very good tips. I can start with that. But would you suggest that I start before the certification, or
Start creating content. And you don't have to be an expert to create content. If you know 5% more than someone else out there, they're going to look up to you and be like, wow, she did something that I haven't been able to do yet. She got out of an environment that wasn't good for her, and look at her now. Or she knows you can start also writing about finance. She knows how to help women with being in charge of their finances. So don't overthink it. Don't feel like you have to have all the answers, but just sharing those small pieces, you'll be surprised of how many things are probably so common knowledge for you, especially in finance, that others are like, I haven't thought about that. Or yes, I can do that. Or wow, yeah, that would give me a sense of self back.
Okay. I think that really helps. Don't overthink it. Because sometimes I get in my head, I'm like, oh, but what about this? Or how about that? And yeah.
And when you start content creation, just think about, I don't know if you're active on social media, but do you remember a post that you saw 3 days ago? Because
yeah,
I don't.
From anybody?
Yeah, my point is they're so fast-lived. Like, I don't remember any posts I saw 3 days ago, and most people don't. So literally the worst thing that can happen is you write a post and not a lot of people read it, which is sad because you put a lot of work into it, but they scroll past and no one remembers it. And if it's a good post, it starts a conversation. So don't be too afraid about putting yourself out there. That's going to be an amazing start for your business. What's your takeaway from today's session?
Oh, wow. This has been amazing. Like I said, I have thought about this thing. Well, you've helped me to sort of organize it. Like, what do you do first? To put them in categories, I would say, or topics. Okay, who is your ideal client? What steps can you take? And very importantly, show me how to start, even when, I wouldn't say I'm fully ready now, but I can start building my following and community. And when I'm ready to go, it's like, whoa, it takes off. Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I love that so much for you.
Wow, what a powerful session. I hope you felt as inspired listening as I did coaching. I'm always blown away by the courage it takes to not only reflect deeply on your path, but also to speak your truth and imagine something bigger for yourself. And if you're in a season of reimagining your career, I want you to remember the following key takeaways from this episode. First, career clarity is essential. When you know what kind of work truly lights you up, not just what you're good at, but what fills you with meaning, you're able to make aligned decisions. Whether you're mid-career, pivoting industries, or stepping into entrepreneurship, taking the time to understand your motivators can be a powerful compass. Second, it is important to identify your unique differentiation. Think about what makes you stand out. Maybe it's a combination of professional expertise, personal values, or lived experiences. When you can clearly articulate what you bring to the table and what problems you help to solve, you not only build credibility, but also forge emotional connections with your audience, no matter if those are potential clients or a potential new employer. And third, start before you feel ready. Whether you're dreaming of launching a business, changing careers, or stepping into a more aligned life path, don't wait for perfection. Begin showing up now. Take that first step, then the next, and then the next. And over time, this exact momentum is what becomes the foundation of your success. And then you add in a clear, authentic personal brand and a long-term vision grounded in small, sustainable steps, and you're on your way to creating a real impact. Let this be your permission slip to begin. If you resonated with this episode, I encourage you to check out the Sparketype assessment for yourself. It is such a powerful tool to better understand what truly energizes you and why certain work just feels off. And of course, if you're dreaming about a career shift and want clarity and support, I'd love to walk alongside you in that journey. Schedule a free consultation call with my team today. The link for that is in the show notes. Until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, your voice, your vision, and your story matter. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Career Clarity Unlocked. If you're feeling stuck in that what's next spiral and are ready to finally break free, let's chat. You can book your free career clarity call where we'll uncover what's really important to you, tackle any obstacles holding you back, and map out your best next step. Schedule your free 30-minute call today on careerbloomcoaching.com. And before you head out, be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so you never miss an episode. If today's conversation gave you new insights and inspiration, please leave a review. It really helps us reach more amazing listeners like you. And don't forget to share this episode with a friend or on social media. Your support truly means the world. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next time.